My name is Jim Parrish, author of the Joe Average Strength System. I've been working closely with Iron Woody for the last 10 years or so. I've been using his bands for a long time. He's getting some questions from strength coaches concerning how to implement the bands. So I'm going to shoot a quick video today going over the bands and having my 16-year-old son demonstrate some benching and a little squatting with the bands today. Just so that we're all on the same page, there's 5 different bands that I use. Now, I believe John Iron Woody will sell you a starter set which consists of the minis, the monster minis, we call them monster minis, the smalls. Now that's pretty much in your starter set, and these are the 41-inch bands that I use for the benching and the squatting. If you're just starting out with bands, these are probably all the bands that you need to get started. Then there's the mediums. Sometimes they're green, and then the large is sometimes the black. I use all 5 of these bands when I bench and squat the long ones. I use combination of bands. If you go on my on YouTube, search Joe Average Strength, there's a video on there, Intro to Bands, and it'll show how we hook all these bands up and stuff. So I'm not going to go into that at this time. Just a quick introduction on the types of bands that are sold. And then for deadlifting, now years ago I was talking to Iron Woody, and I was telling him how it'd be great if we had the bands half the size for deadlifting. So I guess there's people out there that use these bands, they choke them for the bench and stuff, but like I've always said, choking, you get a lot more out of the bands. You develop a lot more strength if you double them as opposed to choking. So it's the same thing, minis, monster minis, smalls, mediums, and larges. So again, with the deadlift, this is what I use for the deadlifting. I use a combination of these. Sometimes I'll use just one band. Other times I use combinations of bands. Also have in a document showing all our band rotations, that if you are interested in that, I can email that to you, and that will show you the rotations that I follow when I squat, bench, and deadlift. So what we're going to do now is set my son up for a quick bench workout to demonstrate the boards. I'll explain a little bit why we do the boards, and he'll be doing some raw benching with the monster minis today. Like I said, raw, he normally trains in a bench cert, but I know that there's going to be a lot of athletes out there that are just going to be doing raw, so we'll demonstrate a raw workout today. My son does wear a bench cert and a squat suit. The reason for that is it allows him, keeps him tight, protects the joints, but also it allows him to lift with a lot more weight, a lot more band tension, and he's developed a lot more strength by training with a combination of no gear and with the gear. So if you're a football player at any level, college or NFL, and you know all the players out there are all training raw with no gear, and your team is training with gear, well then they're going to be significantly stronger than everyone else. So we'll get set up and demonstrate a quick bench workout. Alright, now again today my son's going to use Monster Mini bands. Now these are doubled, and as you can see, just the Monster Mini, there's it's quite a bit of tension. Now when you train with bands, of course you eliminate bar weight, so band tension replaces bar weight. What's so great about training with these bands is you're constantly training against the resistance of the bands, which strengthens the tendons and ligaments. The stronger the tendons and ligaments get, the more muscle that you have, the stronger the muscle that you have, the more weight they can lift. So my son's 16 years old, he's a junior in high school. He's played all kinds of sports, football, he's wrestled, plays soccer, he's done basketball a couple years, his favorite sport is baseball, and he lifts year round. And training with the bands has helped him become a better athlete, be a better ball player. So he's going to demonstrate some benching with the Monster Minis today. I just wanted to go over how we work out, the boards that we do and why we do them. And if you're a coach out there and you want to implement the band training, this will give you an idea of how to implement the band training to help your athletes become stronger. Now when Josh, of course, when Josh was younger and he first started, he couldn't even do the Monster Minis in the bar for 1 rep. So he's going to demonstrate warming up with the bar. We'll go over all his warm-ups and his board workout. It's about a 15-minute workout, and that's all you really need to do to have a good bench workout. Go ahead. Okay. Now, hop up real quick. Go run the camera. It's still on. I'll put the camera over here. All right, now I'm going to go in and explain these the boards a little bit. Now, say for example, you're stuck. You can bench 300 pounds for 1 rep, and you're stuck there, and you want to get to 400 pounds. So if you're constantly training full range, meaning here all the way down to your chest and up, and you're doing sets of 3, sets of 5, sets of 10, you're going to be training with less weight than what your max is. So if you're stuck at 300 and you're doing the traditional type of weightlifting, whether it's sets of 3, 5, or 10 or whatever, you're going to be training with less than 300 pounds. So how are you going to progress from 300 to 400 if you're always training with under 300? So the idea of the boards is twofold. Number one, especially when you get into powerlifting, it develops your sticking points. But most importantly, we do a lot of board work because it allows you to train with max plus weight. So if you're stuck at a 300-pound bench and you want to get to 400, well, you need to start handling weights or band tensions that exceed 300 pounds. So, the most common boards that we use are, they're just 2x4s or whatever, 1x3s, all nailed together. This is a 2 board. We'll flip this around for 1 board. This is a 3 board, and this is a 4 board. I find that the 2 board, 3 board, 4 board are your best combinations for most lifters. If you got an athlete that's 6'6" or something with real long arms, then you may want to do a 4 board, 5 board, or 6 board, whatever. But for most people at 2, 3, 4 range, that middle range is the most effective for developing a strong bench. So what my son's going to do is we're going to put some bar weight on, and he's going to do a set off the 2 board. He's going to rest. He'll do a set off the 3 board, and he'll do a set off a 4 board. Now again, by doing the boards, he's going to be able to train with a lot more weight than if he was doing full range, and that's going to make him stronger, and that's how you progress. So, if you're an athlete out there and you're stuck at 300, you want to get to 400, well, if you start doing boards, you're going to be able to do 300 pounds for a lot of reps. Then you'll do a 2 board for 325, a 3 board with 350, a 4 board with 375. So that gets you used to handling a lot heavier weight, and that's how you build the strength. So, it's a progression, takes time. Same thing with the bands. We rotate through our bands, all doing board work. And then periodically, maybe once every 2 months or so, then we'll test ourselves. Or if we go into a powerlifting meet, then we'll test ourselves for a 1 rep max full range. But, everything else that we do is all off of boards for 7 to 10 reps. All right, my son just did the bar again. We put a 10 on each side, 65 bar weight with double Monster Minis. He's going to do that for a couple. Then he's going to start his 3 working sets. Now, if you're, a bigger, stronger athlete, you're using a heavier band. Say, for example, you're going to use the larges, or if I use the larges, I'll start with the smalls, then I'll go to the mediums, and then I'll go to the larges. I just don't throw the larges on and start warming up cold with large bands. It's a whole lot of tension, and you got to warm your muscles up. Starting with the lighter bands and working up. Now, if you're going to always be lifting raw, then you're not going to be able to get into the heavier band tensions that I do, or Joe Mazza does, or whoever, without wearing a bench shirt. Again, my son, when he's training in his bench shirt, he's able to handle a lot more band tension, which has made him a whole lot stronger. But he's just going to demonstrate. He's just going to demonstrate without a bench shirt today. Now it's hard to tell, but with these bands, when they're double, there's no, there's a little, it's going to loosen as you come down. But when you choke them, there's all that slop in the band. So when you double them, you're getting more resistance through the entire range of motion. So even when the bar's on his chest, there's still some resistance, and then it's a progression as he goes up to lockout. All right, now Josh is getting ready to do his first working set. I'm starting him off at 2 board. He's got 85 pounds of bar weight with the Monster Minis. Now, as you can see, Josh did 12 reps there, so it's very important that you train to failure. I strongly recommend that your rep range be between 7 and 10. So as a strength coach, when you're telling your lifters, well, I want you to get 10 reps, you can't get a number in your head. It's important that your first time doing a band tension, whether it's the smalls, Monster Minis, whatever, it's a guessing game. As you're warming up, the lifter will give you an idea of what he thinks he can do for 10 reps. And then once he lays down and he starts going, it's important that you train to failure. You do as many reps as you can, whether it's 10, 15, or 20, because it's that failure that stimulates the muscle. If you got this thing in your head where you're just laying down, you're going to do 3 sets of 10, and you don't go to failure, well, you're not really stimulating the muscle. So Josh got 12 reps there. Now, everyone's different. His next set's going to be a 3 board, so I'll probably take him up 15, 20 pounds. Some guys may only be able to go up 5 or 10 pounds. Other guys might be able to go up 30 or 40 pounds. So everyone's going to be different. You can't apply the same rules to everyone on the team or to your group or whatever it is you got going on. Every lifter should have a log book. Every time Josh does a Monster Mini band, I look at the last time he did it, see how much he did, and he'll go up 5 pounds. So every time you do a band workout, whatever specific band it is, you got to write everything down. The bar weight, the board, the bar weight, and the reps. So the next time you come around weeks later and do that band again, you can look back if he did, like for example, Josh did 85 for 12. So the next time he does Monster Minis, instead, I'll probably take him up 10 pounds. If he only would have gotten 8 or 9, then he either would have tried it again or, take him up 5 pounds. So, you got to look at the weight, the reps to determine, the increase to the next board. The next time you do that band tension, what bar weight to put on the bar for the lifter. All right, now Josh is going to a 3 board. We took him up 15 pounds to 100 pounds of bar weight. It's not a big deal when you first start training with the bands, trying to figure out what your lifters need to do to progress from one board to the next. You can start out with 15 pounds between sets, judge their reps. The next time try 20 or 30 pounds, 10, 5, whatever. As long as you train to failure, you just got to guess. As long as you train to failure, that's most important. And, every time you bench, every time you come around to the same band tension again, you can kind of dial in their numbers. So it's not a real big deal if they get, 15 to 20 reps. Next time they do a band, the same band, just add a little bit more weight to get their reps down, to around 10. Now, as you can see on this set, he went up 15 pounds, got 10 reps. 10 reps was failure. He could not do another rep, so that was a good set. All right, now Josh is lifting by himself today, so he's taking a good, 4 or 5 minute break in between sets. It's important that when you train to failure, that you allow the muscle to recover in between sets. So, if you're on a coaching a team or whatever, a good group would be 6 or 7 guys lifting together. So after one guy goes, there's another 5 or 6 guys that have to go. By the time it's that guy's turn again, he's rested long enough. So, you as a coach, the players or the athletes or whoever, you'll learn what you need to do in order to rest long enough in between your sets so that you have a good, effective set every time you lift. It's only 3 sets, so you got to make the most of it. So Josh is going to 115 bar weight here, off a 4 board. Lift. Ginger breathe. More. Come on. Now again, he went 9.5 reps there and went to failure. I guarantee you, if you've never trained with bands before, you lay down, you do 3 sets to failure of 3 different boards, 2 board, 3 board, 4 board. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel what these bands do to the muscle tissue, and over a short period of time, all it takes is a couple months to get going with these bands, and you're going to notice a significant increase in your strength.